Hey everybody, welcome to the 19th Hole Golf Show. I'm Ryan Ballantyne. It's great to have you here with us. It's been a little while since we've done a show. Had a great conversation with Ward Clayton around the caddies of the Masters and Augusta National Golf Club, and I think that really was a great way to kind of cover the Masters a little bit of a different way on this podcast. So for this week's show, we are looking at how a golf course is developed, and our case here is Soleta Golf Club from Mayaca City in Florida, which is kind of near Sarasota on the west side of Florida. And this property is in development right now. It's a Nick Price designed golf course. There's a little bit of residential to it, not a whole lot. It's really on the outskirts of the property. And then there's a massive, amazing practice facility that's been developed as well. And I wanted to have this kind of be a story from a couple of different angles about the course. So we kind of sought out Soleta to kind of get a sense of, hey, can we talk to a couple of different people who are principals, who are involved with this process of developing this property, which is slated to open in November, which is an incredible turnaround you'll hear about later in the episode. And they were more than welcoming to have us talk to a couple of different folks. So we have two guests for you to talk to about Soleta Golf Club in this episode. The first is David Turner, and he is the managing partner of this project on this 530-acre property. And the property that runs, along the Mayaca River for about 2 miles. So it has a lot of crossing areas with water. And David's an interesting guy involved in this, not only because he's one of the three developers and he's the managing partner, but also because his background isn't really in golf. His background is in property development, property management, those types of things, real estate. And so this is a little bit of something that's different for him. And you'll hear about that in the conversation that we have. And then our second guest is a name you're very familiar with, and that's David Leadbetter. So two Davids on this episode. And David Leadbetter joined me from his home in Colorado, and he is an investor in the project. He is intimately involved in the project, not only as an owner, but also as someone with heavy influence over the practice facility development, its design, how they'll conduct golf clinics and schools out of Soleta. Has some influence in having Nick Price be the developer, and is kind of one of the important people of the facilitators of a variety of things happening in terms of hires, in terms of design, architecture, influence at the club. So he gives a different perspective as well, as someone who has never been a golf course architect, but has had obviously a big hand in how golf is instructed and taught in this country and around the world, but also how it's presented at a school or academy level. So his perspective is very interesting too. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Nick Price on this episode. I hope to have him for a future one. But we were so far along in the process that I wanted to have David and David on the show and talk about their experiences so far with Soleta and kind of bring that piece of it to you. So first will be David Turner, then will be David Leadbetter. So here's David Turner, one of the three developers of this project, the managing partner for Soleta Golf Club. David Turner joins us. He is the co-owner and co-developer of Soleta Golf Club in Mayaca, Florida, which is in the Sarasota area. It's going to be a 650-acre golf and residential development, and it's going to be headed with a golf course designed by Nick Price. And David's kind enough to join us to talk about it. So David, first, thanks for being with us. How did this come together? What is your background in golf and life and developing that led you to this point?
Well, thank you, Ryan. As to how it came together, it was really a little bit more by happenstance. I've done real estate most of my career. I've worked with my two current partners for 10 plus years now in real estate and other businesses. Basically, it was the right opportunity at the right time that we had a mutual friend of mine, knew the landowner, knew that he was putting on the market for sale, and it happened to be under 20 minutes from my partner down there, Charles, who's one of the three development partners. So we looked at it. We looked at the highest and best use. I don't think golf was ever the top of our mind for any particular real estate project. I've worked with golf courses before, but more on a home development where the golf course is a small amenity with it. This is really the property lent itself to be primary core golf. There is a residential component, but the golf is really separate. And that's what appealed to us. And then from, I guess, why a high-end golf course? It's part of it was just the dynamics of the timing. As everybody knows, things in Florida, particularly golf, have gotten a lot busier and a lot more in demand since the pandemic time. And it there hasn't been a new high-end course in our focus or our purview in the Sarasota area really for 10 plus years. So we thought there was enough demand, a limited supply. There's wait lists at all the other top courses, multi-year wait list. So it's something we started to explore.
When you found out that this property was going to be available, what kind of window did you have to make your decisions about acquiring it and what you wanted to do with it?
I mean, we had our reasonable time frame and normal due diligence. One interesting component is it was for sale. There was at least one other offer that we saw, but at least there were several other offers we were told about. And we did take some risk that not all the zoning was in place at the time. So we did take I would say a calculated risk. Everything that we went for the rezone was part of the future plan use. So we weren't asking for any variances, any exceptions, anything extraordinary. But we did about I would say probably 120 days since we first heard about the property to when we actually closed on it. We closed in it was basically end of July, early August of 2022.
Okay. But
So
for the overwhelming majority of people, they're never going to have a transaction like this happen in their life. Can you kind of describe for them the excitement of winning and getting the property even before you start to put shovels in the ground?
I'm not that excited about winning yet till we open here in the fall, but I feel like we've made some great strides along the way. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was, the right components there. Like I said, my one partner, Charles, he recently moved back there, but he grew up, born and raised in the Sarasota area. So he had a lot of affiliations for many years with some of the right people in the real estate industry and the entitlement industry that really helped us get there. They also helped us before we bought the property to assess it, evaluated it, and determined that it was a viable project, both from actually getting it approved and off the ground, but also financially as well.
So you make the determination, all right, we're going to go with a high-end golf community. We're going to golf first, lead with golf, and have a residential component. Then what happens? I mean, do you go and try and figure out who's going to develop this for you in terms of not only general contractor, but also architect? What does that process look like or did look like?
Yeah, I mean, again, I've done a lot of real estate in all types of industries. Yeah, as a pure golf, this is uh, sort of our first group focus into it. So, we started from the local level, really. The previous owner was a great advocate. He's actually remained one of the large partners in the project. He's knows and has been friends with David Leadbetter, who's local and native to Sarasota. Actually, David, when we talked with him, we evaluated 3 to 4 architects and had conversations with a few, and definitely bounced it around with a lot of people internally. But David was adamant that we should really talk with Nick Price. And when we talked with Nick, we got that feeling early on that he shared our vision. He wanted to create something understated, fitting in with the area. You said you weren't that familiar with the area. It is Sarasota Lakewood Ranch area, so it is a booming area, but Mayaca City is a little bit further out there. So, we wanted to create something that blended with the natural surroundings. A big component of ours was not touching or encroaching on any of the wetlands. And Nick was great from early on. He's done some fantastic courses in other parts of Florida and elsewhere in North America that really lent itself to the natural topography that was there. So we felt very confident when we selected him that he could do that.
From selection to shovels in the ground, and then kind of the initial process, how long did it take to kind of get to here where we are in March 2024?
Yeah, I mean, I guess a small win when we talked about winning was we received full entitlements in under 12 months, which was very impressive even for us. I mean, we set an aggressive schedule and we got moving towards it. We thought it might have been 12 to 15 months. We did it in about 11 and a half months. So that was sort of mid-June, we got the rezoning done, submitted immediately. We had all the plans ready. So we started to get permits to prep the site for construction September, October, and then started moving dirt December. And then really it was just about a month ago that we received the full permits to build the golf course. And that's really when we've got moving. We have a great team out there that's been moving along quickly. So, I mean, if you ever get a chance to see it, I think we have close to 10 of the holes shaped
Oh wow, okay.
right now, or in different phases of shaping. Maybe 4 or 5 of the holes are completely done and graded, and the greens are the green structures are going in. Others are in earlier phases, but I mean, we plan to be starting grassing here in the next month or so
Okay.
on the initial holes. We plan to have everything planted by early to midsummer, and we plan to be playing golf here this upcoming fall.
Will you open with preview play, or is an enticement to either potential members or just to folks that have already joined, or are you planning on a full 18 hole opening and sticking with that?
Um, a lot of that is still in the works, but initially we don't want to overstress the course. We want it to grow in, right. We've been talking very closely with Nick. We also have brought on a fantastic general manager and head superintendent, and now a handful of other people that are local to the area. So they've really been coaching us as to, making sure we grow it in correctly, not overplay it, not overuse it. So we do plan sort of late fall. We're saying November timeframe, could be a little bit earlier or later in November. We're going to open for a full 18, and it will be at that point for the membership that signed up.
What are you looking toward in terms of a membership base? I mean, variety of different clubs opening around kind of the southeastern United States right now, and some are super low in terms of membership, 50, 75 people. Some are trying to aim for closer to 500 people, but want more of a national base. What are you kind of looking for here in terms of a membership roster, and also maybe a breakdown of how many people are local and maybe people who are seasonal folks down in Mayaca?
Yeah, so you threw some numbers very high and very low. We're trying to find that right mix. A big focus of our club beyond just being pure golf is, it should be somewhere with great golf, but it should be fun with the right atmosphere too. So we don't want too many people that you have to schedule tee times a few days out. You want enough people there that you feel like you're going out and, meeting some local friends there. There'll be a few national people there, and it'll be a good group. So, phase one that will be opening this fall is just the pure golf. We do have future phases that will break ground late this year or at the latest early next year, which will be more the family component, but and additional golf. We'll have a large, 12,000 square foot plus spa, fitness, golf performance training center. We will have uh, large family pool, kids club, outdoor eating area, and then eventually the clubhouse. But I guess I got off subject there for a second for you. So for local members, we're looking at the 275 maximum local members. We feel like it's the right number, that there's always good activity, good buzz, but you're not, booking tee times on a lottery system or having to
Yeah.
call a few days out. You can pretty much show up and you're going to get off when you want to. National membership, we're at about 100 national members is what we're looking at to do. And both of them have been actually, we've had a lot of traction so far for that. So we feel like we'll get good momentum, particularly into the fall when people can go out there and see the course in a close to finish state.
How does building buzz for a new private golf property work? I mean, especially in 2024, is it social media based? Is it friends and family based? Is it word of mouth? I mean, what's the combination of where you get your leads?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that differs a little bit for national versus local.
Sure.
We've really tried not to advertise it that much as far as traditional advertising, just because that's not quite what we're looking to do, and we're a small club. I've worked on projects where you spend exorbitant amount on advertising dollars, but you have six, seven, 800 homes to sell, and obviously
Right.
the dynamics are a little bit different there. One of the best things is we've have a great local group of early supporters. A lot of them were, we call them founding members, and they've been fantastic advocates for us in the local area. I would say most, if not all of them, have at least brought a few friends to come take a look at it. A lot of them have had those friends or just people that they know sign up. And that's the type of base we're trying to build here.
You're at the property pretty regularly. You obviously get to see the development, what changes, what happens. What are the things that excite you as you see kind of the change build up day after day as it transforms from 650-acre palette, uh, to a landscape that's become a golf course.
Yeah, I guess the excitement is it's transforming faster than I would have ever imagined. I mean, I've been involved with very, very large construction projects before, but the speed at which they're moving and how the landscape is changing is definitely exciting. I would say the second component is the landscape's changing, but you can actually see how the course is going to fit very well into the area. So on the south side of the property, we have close to 150 acres of natural wetlands along the Myakka River. So we don't actually touch any wetlands on the property or the wetland buffers, but several of the holes are right along those wetlands there. We have a few other wetland areas where a few of the holes wrap around, and we've actually another big component on the natural feel is we've actually saved and created nurseries on site. So we're moving over 7,000 trees on the property and hope to relocate those throughout the golf course and common area as well. So it's exciting to see. I mean, I think we have 12 or 15 full-time staff right now just working on that landscape. And just last week, they started actually replanting the trees back onto the shaped holes of the golf course. And so that's been exciting to see how you can, obviously change it. A lot of it was pasture land or just, overgrown areas, but, really trying to put it back to make it its natural feel has been one of the biggest excitements as to how we could do that.
Was that something that you had originally intended as part of the development, or is that something that kind of came up along the way?
I mean, it was a discussion all along, but I think we actually made a much bigger effort as we started getting ready for construction. That hey, look, we can save a lot of these. They're great trees. I mean, we have everything from, small shrubs and small little trees to, I think we're moving 30 plus large oak trees. I mean, some of them are 30, 40 feet tall with, specialty equipment that comes in to move those. So we always saw moving as much as we could. I think we just realized that there's a lot more that we could do. So like I said, we went from a small sort of outsourced landscape labor team to hiring a good number of people on our direct payroll just to do this full time, because you only have so much time as you're building the course to grab the good trees that you can before they start shaping it. Really, we replant them. I think we have 3 nurseries on property where we replant them, irrigate them, take care of them, and like I said, we're now just starting to move them back to what will be the finished location on the course.
Last question for you. I mean, it sounds like you've done all kinds of large scale construction projects over the years throughout your career. What makes this one unique and different compared to anything else you've done?
I mean, really, most of the large scale construction I've done has been large buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So the horizontal work, I mean, is just incredible what we're doing there. I mean, we've worked with Nick and Heritage Links, who's our fantastic general contractor. They build great golf courses and remodel great golf courses all throughout the country. So, I'm sorry, I just had a protocol
Oh,
there.
you're good. You're good. We'll edit that out. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So just the scale of the horizontal dirt work has been incredible. I mean, I've done large industrial sites on very large projects where there's tens of millions of dollars of flat work and infrastructure work, but nothing to this scale.
And what is the feeling you anticipate having when you cross the finish line? That you see people drop tees in the ground, hit golf balls, play golf shots, play real golf at Soleta. What are you anticipating that's going to feel like for you?
I'm sure it's going to feel fantastic. I'm not a huge golfer, and I'm trying to improve a little bit before I get out there. But look, it's great anytime you finish a project, but this is a little bit different here. We don't see this as a traditional development project, like an apartment building where you build it, you lease it up, you sell it. This is something that we feel like our partners and our investors are going to hold on to for a very long time. It's going to be something you can experience on a consistent basis, but it's just going to be a great, successful project as well.
Thanks so much to David for being on with me. It was really nice to talk to him, get a sense of the project from his perspective, which I think is one that we don't typically talk about when talking about these newer golf clubs. Is, all right, who's building this thing? Who's putting the money down? Who's putting shovels in the ground? Who's making all of that happen? And what is their role in it? But now we turn to a different role in this. One of the investors, David Leadbetter, who again joined me from Colorado to talk about the project, his involvement with it, seeing the site, working with Nick Price, and trying to design not only a practice facility, but have an influence over the design of the golf course. And you will hear that David and Nick Price have significantly different views of what modern golf course architecture and modern golf course presentation can look like. But they also are lifelong friends and known each other for almost all their entire lives. And so they have a great working relationship, but also a great friendship, and that's come together in Soleta Golf Club. So here is David Leadbetter. David, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it. I just kind of want to pick your brain a bit about Soleta and involvement with it, and
Yeah.
getting. I assume that you had some kind of role to play in getting Nick Price involved too. So, the connection there.
Yeah. I'm sort of I'm an investor in Soleta, and I'm sort of a facilitator. I helped bring Alan Pope on board. I got Nick involved, and so I just thought, Nick's obviously he does a lot of work with the USGA, and he's done a lot of golf courses. He's done MacArthur, and so and he's obviously a great friend of mine. And I thought we'd really work well together. And we obviously he's doing the golf course, and I said I want to be a co-designer and design at least one bunker. so I'm involved in obviously designing that. But now what we're going to do, we've got goals of having a world-class practice facility, which we're going to call the Field of Dreams, for many reasons. And so so it's an exciting project. Nick's really excited about the way it's coming on, and it's amazing how, as the weeks go by, how it's really progressing. So the great thing about it is that the houses are sort of set back. There's obviously it's a development, but the golf course is really pretty much on its own. And it's going to be a family type membership with all sorts of different amenities, pickleball, swimming, etc. And although it seems way out there at the moment, everything in Sarasota is progressing in that direction. Plus, there's another golf course being built in the area. So Sarasota hasn't, in all honesty, been, Sarasota is mainly known for beaches and boating and fishing. And so, where the rest of Florida, you take Naples, for instance, it's sort of like the Palm Springs of Florida. So we feel it's a great market. There's a handful of sort of really good golf courses. I think this one will top it all, to be honest. And we're really excited. And the fact is, we're actually going to look at having a membership almost to the Field of Dreams too. So it's not going to be just exclusive to the members. So people will be able to join the facility, because we've got over 30 acres, and so with a practice hole and amazing short game areas. We're going to have a Callaway fitting center, all the technology, workout facility. So it's going to be really a place where people can literally follow their dreams no matter what level of player they are. So obviously I've had experience with these different practice facilities around the world. I helped to design one years ago down at Shadow Creek, actually. That was, and so we, to all intents and purposes, we're trying to design a practice facility which has the sort of same feel as if you're on the golf course, so you can go and work on your game. And so I think it's a great amenity that the members that have already joined are really excited about. So I'm sort of hang my hat there a little bit. I'm doing less travel than I used to, as far as traveling around the world with tour players and what have you. So we live in the Sarasota area, so it's sort of I'm really, really excited to be part of the team, so to speak. And there's a really good group of guys who are the investors. Are a really good group of guys. This is their first golf project, and they've really taken it on board, and they've given Nick a really good budget to work with. I think it's the best budget he said he's ever worked with. So he's it's going to be a golf course which is going to be really it's going to be a good golf course, but it's going to be friendly for all types of players. I think part of the plan, some of the golf courses that are designed today are pretty much designed with a tournament in mind, a professional tournament in mind, which there's not necessarily, it's not great necessarily for your average member so this is going to be a course which is, it's going to have I suppose a linksy feel, and as much as there's not going to be a whole lot of rough. There's going to be it's going to be a strategic type golf course. It's going to have its length, obviously, and you can always toughen up a golf course if you had a tournament. But I think it's going to be very pleasurable to play. A great mix of holes, and I've seen the design. And Nick says he thinks this is going to be the best one he's done. I think this is his 8th course, I believe, 8th or 9th, and so he's very excited about the whole thing.
How did you get into, or how did the business opportunity, investment opportunity come to you? Did you know these folks previously, or just kind of they knew you were in Sarasota and they're
the way it turned out, interesting. The fellow that actually owned the land, his name was Joe Bellino, and the property, 530 acres, had been in his family for 50 or 60 years. And he came to me about 3 or 4 years ago with the idea of designing a golf course, and nothing came of it. until maybe a couple of years ago when and then he suggested that the principals who we sold the land to contacted me because I had some really good ideas. And, so, obviously I've been in the business a long time, and I know what works, what doesn't work. And so we've, so they sort of liked what I had to say about, the potential of the facility. Because, you can put a golf course in, but there needs to be more to it than that. And so we're trying to create a sort of the ambience where it's really for golfers, people who really love to play. We've actually, a good friend of mine used to work for me at IMG, Mark Rummings. He's the golf director. I brought him on board. So we've got a really good team of people. And so, it was just one of those things that I felt that, look, this is a great opportunity. And I think that the Sarasota area really was crying out for a facility like this, because the good courses they've got are really overplayed, and they're, there's not a lot of tee times and so on. And so I think, and we're starting to see members. I mean, we've got a huge number of national members. People obviously people who come down from up the north in the winter. We've got a number of those. But the great thing is now we're starting to see a lot of local members. People are members of these other sort of good golf courses in the area. And people, Sarasota is a booming area now. There's a lot of people coming down. Florida in itself is a booming state. Everybody's sort of seems to be coming down from up north for one reason or another. And so I think it's an opportune time. And so I just felt that, this is something I really like to do, especially with the opportunity of designing this practice facility. I've always, obviously, juniors and young players and tour players and so on. I think it'll be an area where I think tour players will. It's interesting when you have a facility where tour players can work on their games. They've already got, JB Holmes has already joined, so and he was in the area, he left, and he's now coming back. And so I think when you've got a facility like that, say build it and they will come, as they say. So I got involved, and I just felt that, hey, investing it would be, if I believed in the project, then I'd invest in it.
Do you feel like the principals involved rely on you a little bit more, or have relied a little more on you in this project because of their relative inexperience in building golf facilities?
Yeah, I think that's the case, and they're certainly learning a lot now. They don't need to be as much as they did at the start, but they've been basically involved in real estate, and so real estate and golf course complexes are quite different, and so you've got to know what the market requires. And I think that's the reason I thought Nick would be such a great architect, because I think he's aware, he's very conscious of, he's very much into this sort of the growth of the game, if you will. And he doesn't like the fact that he's one for sort of bringing the ball back and et cetera, and bit old school, if you will. But so I think with that in mind, I think that I felt that he'd be a great guy to have on board, because they say, look, there's a lot of great architects around. We know that now. So, but I think with his, he's very meticulous. He's his attention to detail is amazing. And I say he just wants a playable golf course, which all levels of players can enjoy, and that's the key. I think, to me, side of a really good golf course. Look, you get great golf courses which are tough. We know that, but you're not talking about having tour players playing a golf course every day.
Right.
So you want a golf course which really is, provides a good test for the good player, but also on the other hand is something where the average golfer can walk off the course and not get beaten up by it. And so this golf course is I think one of Nick's sort of mantras, if you will, is that, hey, you want to hit every club in the bag. It's not like every par 3 is 220 yards long, type thing.
Right. Yeah.
A variation of holes is a great short risk reward par four, short par four, drivable. So there's a nice blend, and I say and they're moving a lot of dirt. The land is perfect because it's very sand based, So even when they had the last hurricane, the water's only stuck around for a very short period of time. So it's a great piece of property.
It does sound like from what I've heard, that there's a fair amount of conservation and even land restoration happening in parts of the project. Was that kind of part of the original plan?
Yeah, look, it's an area which, there was a fair amount of resistance from locals to start with, because Mayaka is a sort of it has its history and its tradition. The river flows through it, and they're very much aware of that, and so they've tried to restore and preserve as much as they can. And so, the great thing about it, there's going to be hiking trails, there's going to be, canoeing and kayaking on the river and fishing and so on and so forth. So, but yeah, I think if you look at golf courses, if they blend in with the environment, so much better. And I think that's really what sold the commissioners in the area on it more than anything else, that they weren't going to disrupt what was going on in the past. It's just they're modernizing it, and obviously it's going to provide I think a lot of jobs to people in the area, etc., etc. And as I say, I think it's definitely there was a need for a facility like this. The other place they're building, which Paul Hazing is involved with, is a very, very expensive. We're talking, sort of 400,000 to 500,000 to join, which is sort of, that. This is, to me, is a very. We're talking right now, it's at 100,000 going up to maybe 125, 150, which is still, which is not cheap, as we understand that. But really, in the scheme of things, when you look at sort of some of these places being built down in Jupiter and one thing or another, it's actually pretty reasonable for what you're going to get,
By comparison, yeah.
Yeah. It's all relative, I suppose, but so yeah. So they wanted to, they want to have. They've already got a good group of guys, and who are in the area, who are, they've got, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 guys who are sort of already play together, and so they're bringing a nucleus of sort of membership from other clubs. So I think it'll have the big thing, with the club. There are some clubs that I won't mention the name, but some clubs that are good golf courses, even in the area, which don't have a lot of atmosphere. It's not really a club atmosphere. This one, everybody's bound and determined. Sort of, hey, this really wants to be a golf club where people can come, and the food's going to be good. The nice thing too, there's going to be cottages where people can stay and so on. So people can come down who are national members and want to stay for 3 or 4 days. So it's got a great mix. That's the thing. It's not just one. It's just not the other. There's a mix, and so I think it's going to be really successful. And with Alan Pope on board, I'm sure you've probably chatted with Alan, and he could sell snow to an Eskimo. So it's like, but he's sort of the. He's a hub of things. He's been at a lot of prestigious clubs, and he knows everybody. And so, we're going to have, we've got already people from some exclusive clubs up north have joined, and so on. So I'm excited, and it's the time is fast coming. It's amazing, how quickly a golf course can be put together in Florida. So November, certainly all the infrastructure is not going to be in. But there'll be a temporary clubhouse and what have you. But the golf course, they're planning on opening in November. So, which is pretty amazing, really, considering if you look at it a couple of months ago, it was just bush, So, but it's coming a long way.
How often do you get to see the site, and what do you most marvel at about the transformation of it?
Well, I saw it probably about 10 days or so ago. I see it every couple of weeks, and it's just incredible, really, how you can actually see the outline of some holes now, and so on and so forth. And I think they've moved well over 1 million cubic yards of dirt, and so it's got really nice natural flow to the course, and that's the thing. It's it's not just a flat piece of land, which is obviously Florida is pretty flat, but it's got, it's, so I think, yeah, there's going to be some, some topography changes there. They're planting, I think 7,000 oak trees. They've moved from where they've sort of made a nursery, so they've moved them around. There's also they're bringing in some pine trees too, because as we know, that means these oak trees don't look as great during the winter, as they sort of die off a little bit. But so there's going to be some greenery as well. So bringing in a few thousand pine trees as well. So it's going to be so that it's going to be it's going to have a total transformation from what it is, because it basically was just it was almost like a tax haven for the owner, because they had about, I don't know, a couple hundred cows on there, before. It's one of those deals where if you whatever it is, I don't know how it works tax wise, but anyway, that's what it was. So no more cows, but it's a very rural area. You drive out there, oh my goodness, where the heck are we? We're in the middle of, because Mayaka, literally has a, one gas station and a 7-Eleven, I think, but it's so one traffic light. So Mayaka's about to change to some extent, but you literally have to. It's a country road, and you go off it, and then all of a sudden it's going to open up into this sort of, into this amazing facility. So, yeah, it's changing a lot, and I say I like the flow of the golf course, and that's I've been around it several times now, and there's going to be a variation in the size of the greens. That there's some small, some big. The bunkering is going to be it's one of those golf courses which Nick looks at. It's all about getting your angles right, so it's not just stand out there and blast it. If you can blast it out there, but you might not have the angle into the green that you want if you laid up a little bit more. So it's a bit of a thinking person's course for the really good player as well, so but all in all, as I say, it's exciting. As I say, I'm really pleased to be involved. I've not been that involved, although I've designed one golf course in China, because I felt it was far enough away. If I screw up, nobody would know, So, but it actually turned out pretty good. The golf course is actually one of the golf courses at Mission Hills in China.
Oh yeah.
One of the 6 or 7, so it's actually one of the most popular ones. It's not ultra long, but it's it's one of those ones which I co-design, and so it's fun to get involved from the very early stages and see how a thing develops.
One last one for you. Has Nick picked your brain at all about design as it was created, and has he picked your brain at all as it's kind of being shaped and set up to look like the actual golf course, maybe for changes or things maybe he spots on the ground that might want to be a little bit different than the original design?
We've talked about it a lot. He's got his own set ideas. He's got he's got a great partner in Wayne Braithwaite, who does who's done all his courses, and Nick is very much a traditionalist, the modern 700-800 yards, huge greens, smash it out there. I mean, so we've talked about, and I haven't made any, we've talked about some suggestions. He said he's doing this, he's doing that, and sort of he's bounced things off me. Basically, that's basically it. Rather than me saying, "Hey, listen, how about I think as the thing with the golf course, until it's planted, you can still make some subtle changes. And a golf course is pretty much like a portrait, because it's never really finished. Even when it's finished, you're always going there and tweaking and making changes. You have to look at some place like Muirfield Village and what Jack Nicklaus has done over the years. It's like members that have ever played a year which haven't had some changes made. So, but anyway, because you always just try to make it that much better, and obviously with equipment changes over the years, they put longer tees in and so on and so forth. So, no, I think overall, I think it's going to be a really good test for good players. I think it's going to be a fun golf course, and it's going to be a great members golf course. So, the practice facility obviously is something that we're really excited about, because I say it's a lot of people love to work on their games, and so it's an area that we thought that we could provide this amenity to, rather than just most ranges. Let's face it, it's just a warm-up facility before you go off and play, right? I mean, you got to big field out there with a few flags. So that's about it. So this is going to be something where people can really work on their games. We're going to obviously, we've got a number of good. I've got a number of a cadre of teachers that I've got planned to join, and we're going to have golf schools and so on and so forth, and provide the members with the ability to improve their games and focus a lot on the young players. I mean, having been involved in the area for a number of years, just through having run the IMG facility for many years, I still get kids coming out to see me even though they go to IMG. So I think when people see what we've got on offer, we're going to have a great calling for what we're providing.
Oh, I'm very excited to see what the end product looks like. November's coming quick. That's so fast.
Just around not just around the corner, but it's it's amazing. I mean, you get the summer. Obviously when they're going to start planting, and pretty much next month, some of the fairways already started to be planted, and so you get if they get a good rainy season, and hopefully no big storms. I mean, it'll be it's well on course right now. So
that's impressive. That's very impressive. I know, like you said, with the sandy base, things can happen quicker, but timeline's still pretty impressive.
Very, very lucky because some parts of Florida, you've got this clay, and it's like they really haven't had to bring in any sand whatsoever. Because it's going to be a very natural looking golf course. Cart paths not going to be cart paths per se. They're going to be just these Kachina type. So everything blends in. So a lot of waste areas. So rather than having rough, it'll just run off into a waste area. But all these waste areas, the sand, they've actually been able to take from the land itself, from the property itself. So they've been very, very fortunate. So they obviously got to bring in sand for regular bunkers, but as far as the waste area is concerned, it's all there. You can see there's big piles of it that they've sort of stored. So so that in many ways, say it, which actually saves a lot of money. I mean, if you have to bring that, then that's cost a fortune.
Yeah.
So no, it's going to be good. There's going to and it's not a typical Florida golf course. We've got water on every hole. The water is strategically placed. I mean, there is water on it. You need it, but because that's how you obviously water the golf course. But it's strategically placed, and there's a beautiful par 3, 7th hole, I think it is, which is sort of looks like the 12th hole at Augusta a little bit with the shape of the green, sort of leg. It's the long white, it's sort of narrow green. So that's probably going to be the signature hole, I think. So, no, it's very exciting to see the progression, from day one. So,
do you have any interest in getting on a bulldozer and moving any dirt yourself, or are you?
No. I think I'd be a disaster at that. Let's try to stick at what I'm good at. So, so.
Thank you again to David for being on the show. Thanks to both Davids for being on the show. Hope you enjoyed the conversation about Soleta Golf Club. If you do want to check it out, it's a simple web address, soletagolfclub.com. Obviously, they've pretty well filled their membership at this point, but Soleta is an interesting example of a phenomenon happening in a variety of parts of the country. I've been involved with one in being a member at Old Barnwell and Aiken, turning into between Old Barnwell and the Tree Farm, and another forthcoming third property into one of the kind of private golf meccas of the world, where there was already Sage Valley and Augusta Country Club, and of course Augusta National. So that this is happening in other places around the country, and this is an interesting capsule of one of these types of stories. Hopefully, if you're interested in more, you can check out their website and find out more about the property. Next time on the show, we'll do this all over again. Have a couple of ideas in the hopper for conversations and presentations of episodes. Again, I'm trying to chase with this version of this iteration of the 19th Hole Golf Show interesting people, stories, and ideas that I've come to because of the game of golf, and presenting them as conversations, ways for me and for you to learn something and to be entertained as well. So hopefully you're enjoying that. Leave me a 5-star review if you can do that on the podcast service of your choice. Helps us reach more people. Leave a review. Just leave us a comment about what you think about the shows. It's always helpful to hear from you. You can email me directly if you wish, ryan@thegolfnewsnet.com. I'm on Twitter, Threads, X, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Ryan Ballingy. Golf Newsnet's on all of those services at the handle Golf Newsnet. We're also on Facebook and YouTube as well. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time on the 19th Hole Golf Show.